I don't know if I have a strong opinion about it being an overreaction, but I do think that the media coverage out there about Trinity Bellwoods doesn't really, show the whole truth.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. Well, folks, I'm at ground zero when it comes to Toronto's day of infamy regarding the Wuhan virus. Now, you may recall on Saturday here at Trinity Bellwoods Park, literally thousands of people came out and enjoyed a beautiful, hot, sunny spring day in the park. And why wouldn't you? They have been cooped up for a couple of months now. Well, that triggered the mayor and the police chief and the Toronto medical officer, Eileen Davila, and they condemned this gathering. And they were saying that this was irresponsible and that this was only going to spread the virus. But is that a fact? I mean, really? We know that 82% of the Wuhan virus deaths in Ontario are at seniors' long-term care facilities. If you're relatively young and relatively healthy, you have just about a 0% chance of dying of the Wuhan virus. Oh, and by the way, in the department of one law for me and one law for thee, well, the ever-deaf John Tory, the mayor of Toronto, he just couldn't resist doing another photo op where, yeah, you guessed it, he violated the rules. Here's the front page of today's Toronto Sun. Not you too. My only problem with that headline is it should be, not you too again, because we all remember back in April how he had a photo op with 10 healthcare workers. But as you can see, John Tory's not wearing a mask. He's wearing something, I don't know, it might be some kind of medical device to cure a double chin or something like that, but it's certainly not covering his mouth and his nose. So why is it that Mayor Tory, even with photographic forensic evidence, doesn't get one of those $880 tickets? Whereas if you followed our series, folks, fightthefines.com, you know that people sitting by themselves in the park have received those tickets. In fact, law enforcement did a huge crackdown on Sunday, the day after the mass gathering. And at one point, 2 law enforcement personnel gave an $880 ticket to a person who was solo and sunbathing. Does that make sense? Where was the danger to whom? In any event, let's walk into the park. Let's see if people are behaving themselves as much as John Tory would like them to, even though he doesn't follow his own rules. And let's see what people have to say about the alleged problems of gathering here at Trinity Bellwoods Park. What did you make of the uproar on Saturday when there were thousands of people here? Do you think it was an overreaction, sir, or do you think it's not a good idea for that many people to congregate in the park?
It is. For my opinion, I think that's like too much people and we should be social distancing and staying home. But at the same time, everybody wants to come outside and like have the sun. The weather is so beautiful and we just want to have a little bit fun. But like 1,000 people is too much, I think.
This is not business as usual. The sun is out, it's nice, but we still have issues. And
that is the thing. Is it understandable that, people being cooped up in condo units less than 700 square feet, maybe for 2 months? Saturday was a beautiful day on the weekend, beautiful day today. And can you blame people for coming out and doing what you're doing, sitting in the park on a nice, beautiful spring day?
Yeah, obviously I'm here right now. I can't blame nobody, but at the same time, like if you see 1,000 people, it's overpopulated.
This has been a problem that's been going on for a number of years, mass congregations of people. And I ran an event in the park the last few summers.
Okay.
And a lot of the people in the park actually aren't even from Toronto.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, a headline like Torontonian COVIDiots does kind of annoy me.
What appears to be a mask is on his chin, and he's clearly closer than 2 meters.
The reality is that humans don't function at 6 feet.
Yeah.
So, and masks are a pain in the ass. They're annoying. They are not enjoyable to be around. Like, we're not in the Middle East, right? So it's like I like to see people's faces. I think we all do. So it's like I understand the natural subconscious tendency to pull down a mask and to want to actually have a conversation with people.
We survive as a human species because we rely on each other. So, I mean, I just think there needs to be a little bit more public health education on how to do that safely. I don't think it should be a social distancing, and language is power. It should be called something different. We shouldn't stop socializing. We need each other.
What if in the next several minutes you just saw hundreds and hundreds of people descending on the park? Would you still be sitting here, or would you say it's time to pack up and go?
I'm a healthy, 36-year-old, and I enjoy the park, and the stats seem to be that outside is safer.
As far as you don't have any symptoms, I think it's okay, for my opinion.
Now, folks, I did reach out to Mayor Tory's spokesman, that would be Don Pistol Pete. I had a few questions I wanted to ask the mayor. One is, why is it that he can violate the social distancing rules and not get one of those infamous $880 tickets? I also wanted to know why the city is turning a blind eye to homeless encampments where Wuhan virus etiquette is being violated. And I also wanted to know why the bathroom facilities at City of Toronto parks are closed down, because surely that is leading to the number of people that are urinating elsewhere. Don Pete got back to me. He said he's passed on my questions to City of Toronto Communications, so I think they're still working on their spin right now, folks. Hopefully we'll have it by the time we have to file this report. Well, folks, I'm at Moss Park near the intersection of Queen and Sherbourne, and you can get an idea of the kind of double standard that exists in the City of Toronto. As I mentioned, on Sunday, law enforcement and bylaw officers descended en masse to Trinity Bellwoods Park to, well, harass and ticket and fine taxpayers that were simply trying to soak up some rays. But as you can see here, we have an entire homeless encampment. Social distancing is not being practiced. I mean, they're living in tents, cheek to jowl after all. It is an illegal occupation of the Moss Park lands. And yet, do you see a single bylaw officer or police officer ticketing these people or relocating them? No. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel for people that are down on their luck and they're destitute and have nowhere to go. But why is it that this potential health risk is given a blind eye, whereas people, the citizens, the people that make up the salary for Mayor John Tory, they're harassed when they go out to soak up some rays? Why not cut some slack for everyday honest citizens that are just sitting in a park by themselves? Why do they have to get fined $880?
And that's exactly it. So they're going to stereotype every human being in the park now based on this, and that's not fair at all. Yeah, not everyone's living here, you know what I mean? It's just a small group of people. Like, realistically, probably 80 or 90 people sleep right now at nighttime. Okay, and I mean, that's not completely out of control in my opinion. But there's a lot of places like this throughout town now, and it's getting bigger and it's getting worse. So, I mean, they need to build some shelters or like do some emergency respite, some more things for us to access.
But are the shelters at capacity? I always thought
capacity,
they are.
And they're also on top of that, even if they weren't at capacity, because of the coronavirus. I mean, we were in the phase of coming out of it now. But for the last few months, unless you, before the emergency was declared, had a bed in that shelter, you're not allowed to go in there at all. And that includes detox for people coming off dope who desperately need help, just because of the virus epidemic and the precautions. So we
are you saying the city would rather...
We're underbedded as it is, and now we're just straight up legally unable to get into shelter, period.
There are tents going right down the side of this property. There are tents here. There are even, get a load of this, 3 porta potties. I'm assuming the city has supplied these. So while the city is shutting down the toilet facilities for city-owned parks, it is providing toilet facilities for homeless encampments. But then again, welcome to John Tory's Toronto, the city of the double standard, where there is one law for thee and one law for me, and where the makers get fined and the takers get rewarded. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Well, folks, it's official. Summer camp is a no-no in Ontario. But why is that? There's not been a single recorded death of any Ontarian under the age of 20. So why is Premier Ford locking the kids out of camp? It's just not right. Please go to our newest petition, opensummercamp.com. That's opensummercamp.com. I'm aiming for 25,000 signatures, and when we get close to it, I'll deliver the petition to Premier Ford himself.